Good morning, Africa, and good afternoon to some parts of Africa that are already in the afternoon time in their time zone. It is always a pleasure for me to come on stream to talk about the African question. Welcome to the conference, today's session of the conference. This is the morning session of the conference. There will be a total of two sessions today. This one in the morning, starting right now, and another session that will start at 8 p.m. Nigerian time. We have lined up a number of people who will speak to us today in this morning session, and also those who will speak to us in the evening session. Please take note of this announcement as a kind of housekeeping for the conference. We originally had planned to start evening sessions at 9 p.m. Nigerian time, but we've just discovered that that time is rather too old or too late for people in East and Central Africa. They are 2 hours ahead of those of us in Nigeria, and some 3 hours ahead of some parts of West Africa. So we are bringing the night session of the conference every Wednesday to 8 p.m. So this is an announcement. The next update I would like us to have is that our viewers, thank you. We have seen a number of you already pop up. Please keep coming to this conference. Though we have those who will speak to us today who have been designated, but all African youth are expected to participate in this conference by way of contributions and questions. We want you to listen to the conference, the proceedings, the things that are being said by our peers, the young people of Africa, is already very meaningful and challenging. We all need to hear it. So attend the conference, be present, listen to the speakers, and then add to your participation by asking questions to them, which they will respond to in due course. Also, make comments about what you think you have heard them say. If what they said makes good meaning to you, please let us know that it does. If what they say is not in line with your own thoughts, please argue it and share your own thoughts. Because what we want to do is to argue out the standards that Africa can operate from. And then the Africans will have what they want, what they need, which is a peaceful, progressive, and developing continent where in each of the nations, uh, the rule of law, equity, and progress and service is the order. We welcome you all to today's conference. And in due course, we will be beginning to bring up those people who we have lined up to speak to us today. In order of the appearance here, we have Abdul Kriowa from Kampala, Uganda. We have Gideon Perempe Owusu from Ghana. And we have Amos Elaigu Adeku from Nigeria. And we have someone, John Paul. I think John Paul is also coming from Nigeria. But among the people positioned for this morning are Abdul, Gideon, Amos, and Abdikadni from Somalia. We are expecting that he will appear here in due course. We have also started noticing some comments, which is good. Please let these comments keep coming. And there's one more thing I want all our viewers to do, which is you can even simply mark your presence because, as you are part of this conference, you are part of the decisions that are being made. So you need to have attended this conference to claim to be part of it. So we want you to just simply, if you can comment, let us know you are here because that will now mark your attendance. And you can also tell us that you hear us loud and clear. But I assure you today, the people who have lined up to speak to us are people who are prepared, who are concerned about Africa, who would like to put their foot forward so that the right things can be done. Do not miss an opportunity to share with them. Africa, hello. It will be my pleasure to bring forward our first speaker today, and on the order of appearance, who is Abdul Kriowa from Kampala, Uganda. Abdul, welcome to our studios.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Francis, for having me. I hope I can be heard loud and clear.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. Okay.
Okay.
The floor is yours now. If you will take it and speak to us, after the speech, I will ask some questions and then I will also bring up the questions of the audience.
Okay, thank you so much once again, and thank you so much the children of Africa, my fellow kings and queens. I'm so happy to be here to be given this wonderful opportunity. I cannot thank you enough. You know, every time I hear the name Africa, touches my heart. So every time I get an opportunity to speak to you, I cannot really leave minus thanking you. So going direct to the guest here today, the African leadership, problems and prospects. Yes, we will keep every time we hear this statement, African leadership, the problems and prospects. We may tend to think we are going to solve these problems like how the Europeans are solving their problems. But then we have a different set of problems. The Europeans have problems, and the Americans and the other nations, the problems they are facing currently are the problems that were solved back then. So we need to look at the perspective of African leadership, not in terms of the other leadership of some other nations. But it would be so unfair for any of us to start right away from the problems without knowing where did these problems come from. Oftentimes we come here and speak of Africans are poor, there is a disease and whatsoever, poor leadership and so many of it. But what causes this? And in fact, we'll be here, Mr. Francis and the rest of Africa, will be here, and the next day and next year, talking of the same problems, minus knowing what really the answer to this problem, or what really caused this. So let me go straight to what was Africa before these problems that we are experiencing currently. Did we have leadership? Yes. Did the leadership have problems? Yes, they did. But they were different. It was a different set of problems currently. Yes, we may be lied to. The problems we are facing currently are poverty. We are not a poor nation, absolutely not, or a poor continent, because we are host to all the resources that are being used in generating of the current industries. Take a look at Congo. Congo is one country that has almost most of the minerals in this planet. But look at the situation Congo is in right now. Do you know why? Because it was a system designed to put Africa down. Yes, the problems currently faced are not as a result of the current condition. It was set back then. Let me take you back. Before the Europeans came to Africa, we had leadership. Let me take an example of here in Uganda. There was a kingdom. It is still there. There's a kingdom called Buganda. It had a centralized system where there was a king, there was a prime minister, there was a parliament. Yes, but then when Europeans came here, they found very strong hierarchies. So they were like, how can we destabilize this? So this is what they did. Came to you, told you, kingship is bad. It is very bad. It oppresses you, yet you cannot bow to a fellow human. You cannot bow to a fellow human. So just let it go. You cannot just, your rights are being mistreated. But then when you go to them, they still had kings and queens back then. You could bow to them, but they wanted to break Africa now. So when that ideology started getting into Africans, This is what they did. They were like, now we've seen the light. So African leadership is too bad. So they started revolting against their kings. And as time went on, um, reached to an extent where the system had almost collapsed. So we started having now presidency. Most in African nations, yes, we have presidency currently, but another issue is that was just a simple recap. Another issue is the problems currently Africa is experiencing are a result of the Berlin Conference. Ask me how. You know, Europeans sat down, divided our one Africa into nations. Today you realize, today you were in a country called like Kenya. The next morning your mother was in Uganda. But then Africa was one. So this is the thing. Take a look at Francophone countries, West Africa. Think. What France is actually doing to these countries. There is leadership, yes, there is leadership. There are presidents, and it is a centralized system. But these presidents are put at a check, where, take an example, in 1958 and 1961, when colonialism was ending, the French signed a pact with the African leaders back then. And it would suddenly knew that pact was called the Pact to End, the Pact of the Continuation of Colonialism. And this had implications below. You see, when you disgrace from French leadership, there is actually absolutely going to be a coup d'etat, and there will be militias, they will arm them, and then these are facts happening currently. The militias will come and destroy the government. You know, some of the world leaders know about these things, and then they're just keeping quiet. And even the leaders themselves, they have tried, the presidents, but whoever tries is put out of light. And look at what they are doing with the money. When you talk of an issue like poverty, like currently, these are facts. France currently is extorting like 14 billion yearly. It is a must. All Francophone countries, they put the money to the you know, you have to deposit your money to the Ministry of Finance, and then they deposit that money into the bank reserve, the bank reserves of France. And then this is what they do. They put that money into the money markets. And you know what they are earning yearly? They're earning up around 300 and 500 billions. And now, if you want to access your real money, the country's money, what you have to do is put your submission there. After putting in your submission, this is very funny. If they approve it, you can access up to 20% of that money in a loan form with commercial interests. And then we come here and talk of Africa is poor, Africa is poor. No, Africa is not poor. Africa is a rich nation. It is a system designed by that people that are alien to us, that have decided to destroy us. So I'm seeing the time is running. So allow me get to the prospects. What can we do as Africa? And here's the thing. Africa has to unite as one. That is the first step. We don't want to hear any Nigeria, any Ugandan, any Kenyan. No, we want to stand as one. Yes. So when we stand as one, like, no one can shake you. That is absolutely right. No one can shake you. But even if it's the international market, you can compete favorably. And this is what our Pan-Africanist leaders were trying to do back then, the likes of Kwame Nkrumah and so on. They wanted to create the Organization for African Union. They created it. but they wanted to unite Africa. They wanted Africa to be one. Now imagine a situation where a country like Togo is competing with China, is competing on the international market. That is absolutely so unfair, putting Togo and China at the same competition market. Of course, China with a big market, with a big money, can take it. Back then, countries almost countries in Africa were same level as South Korea. Oh, and let me say Korea, all of it. But where is Korea now? Where is Africa? You see, you're dictated upon. This is what this, you know, we will be here and talk over poverty, lack of strong leaders. No, that was dictated upon. So if we break that chain, we will realize a fruitful Africa. Then we change the education system. I am not in agreement with the current education system currently because when you take an example, like here in Uganda, this system was designed by the British. And you know what they do? We are having a syllabus you cannot believe of, we are currently following a syllabus of 1952. They're just amending it right now. And this is what they do. How can you study solving the problems of Americans, of British, of Canadians? That is absolutely absurd. If I am to say, it makes me cry every time I go to a school because these are the same schools we studied in. You see, you look at internet. A 6-year-old in a country, America, China, is inventing a robot, and an 18-year-old currently in Africa is willing to join, is soon joining university to decide on which his or her fate is going to be. It is absolutely unfair. So if we change the education system and we introduce technical based education, like now, I want my child to be a doctor. So I'll take him to a school. He's groomed from childhood to become a doctor. Maybe this is one of the reasons that's why our leaders currently are putting their children into foreign schools, because they know what is happening currently. And yes, they have the blame, but again, not totally, because they have tried. But if you try, there's going to be a coup. There's going to be a there are going to be militias somewhere, you know, and that would be, if we were one military, we would be competing totally with them. Then I look at an African language. See, countries that developed, the British, the Americans, politically, both politically and in other aspects, this is what they did to solve some of their problems. They said, now, our language first, unifying all sectors. Let it be official, let it be in a simple gathering, we are using our language. And Africa has diverse languages. We have, I have not stepped foot in Nigeria, but I hear Yoruba is some wide spoken language. There is Kiswahili here in East Africa. It is a good language, but look at is it called Amharic? I don't know the correct pronunciation. Maybe Ethiopians here can help me. But when you look at a language like that, it has its own alphabets and its own numerical symbols. So that is a language that we can adopt, if I'm to suggest, as Africans. Let's adopt. The moment we keep on having English, France as official language, these are alien to us. These are not our languages. It would make it easier for those people to come and sabotage our countries. As I said earlier when I was beginning this conference, the problems currently facing Africa are not poverty, but the current problem number one is Western intervention in African societies and politics. You see, some may believe that, and some may not, but that is the real fact. Those are the issues. Yes, now going ahead, we want the youth involvement in leadership. Africa is a young generation. Africa is a young generation. I think no continent has a youth generation compared to Africa currently as we speak. These are the youths that are educated. I was listening up to one of the previous speakers, Mr. George Blue, I hope that is the name, and he was good when he was presenting it, you know. But the youth involvement, there came a question of would we cannot, the elders cannot just give leadership just like that. And then we ask ourselves, okay, we are educated now, but in case a youth comes out, they are brutally beaten, they are killed, some are bribed, and some are forced to leave the countries. See? And these are the youths that are educated, they are exposed, they have moved, they have traveled, they know. You see, I have an approach. I hope perhaps when I'm done, Mr. Francis will check that let us solve 21st century problems with 21st century people. And then the elders can just give advice on what to do and where to go, where we've wronged. Yes, you know, it is like having a youth representative of a state or a member of parliament, as we call it in Uganda, at the age of 60. That is not a youth. And how will he represent the youth? He will represent the ideas of the heads. Yes. And going forward, if we could design a mechanism of stopping the reliance on foreign aid, be it whatever name it comes with, in UK aid, US aid, Chinese loans, these are very dangerous because they come with something called tied aid. I'm going to give you this, you're going to give me this in return. You know, I give you this amount of money, you will give me this. I give you this amount of money, and you let my 1,000 Chinese enter your country and work. I'm going to construct a road for you, but in order to do that, I want some 500 Chinese to come and work on that project. Same issues. Yeah. Now, I think the idea of Western democracy, like we want it to be, is different from the African narrative. You see, we have our own democracy. We cannot compare our democracy. We cannot drive our democracy with the other nations, the other continents. Like, for example, if I may elaborate, the idea of parties, you have to own a party, you have to own this and this party. For me, it is something that that creates some form of slavery. Yes, I'm in the ruling party. Yes, what they are doing is bad, but I cannot tell them because now I may lose my job, or this party has employed my grandfather, my father, and I'm also employed there. There is some form of slavery that comes out of that. And this issue of my next issue is the reliance on majorly. Let me bring it like this. Let us view religion. Religion is very good, but let us view religion in a different perspective. If a religion tells you go kill your brother, then let's let go of that. We've seen case scenarios, you know, in so many countries, and these are. Let me take examples of Boko Haram. Boko Haram are Africans killing Africans. They present, they cover up for their killings in form of religion setting. I'm Muslim myself, yes, I'm a believer, but there is no way absolutely that you can justify killing someone because there is no religion that calls for that. So, in case we should open our eyes, you know, to such things. That is the cause of stability, you know, and I want if we could design a mechanism of bringing diaspora people back to Africa, you know, let them want to come back to Africa. These are rich men. I've seen of late Econ is coming back to Africa to build a full city. Let us design mechanisms in other African nations. You know, perhaps this will reduce the problems of unemployment as we speak of it. You know, people in the diaspora are there, they have so much money, but they're like, how could I go back? How could I go back? Why would I go back? Okay. And another thing, lastly, I've taken so much of your time. I hope to end here. I want to continue. Thank you so much, African people, for listening to me. And I'm expecting your questions. And thank you so much, Mr. Francis. So I hope to return the floor to you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Abdul. This is very heartwarming. Your thoughts are direct on point and they are serious. And with people like you around, I do not see where those ruling Africa currently are imagining what they're imagining, that the youth are not ready. I agree with you. This is the 21st century. We can't continue to manage the 21st century with archaic 19th century minds, which is what is all over Africa right now. So I agree with that totally. So I have one question that I would like to pose to you immediately, and that question is: do you see any problems, any particular leadership problem within your country, some acts that are going on there, or even in other African countries, that needs to stop now if we want to make progress?
Mr. Francis,
Yes.
Mr. Francis, please repeat the question if you don't mind. It was
Oh,
breaking. I couldn't get the question clear.
okay. Let me ask it again.
Hello?
Yeah. Hello. Can you hear me?
I can now, but you're
Okay.
breaking. I think it's
I think it has something to do with your speaker. Sometimes if I speak, it echoes back if there's an issue with the connections there.
okay.
Let
Let me first mute my speaker.
Okay. Okay. Hello. Can you hear me now? You can nod if you hear me. Perfect. And when you are ready to speak, you unmute yourself. Here is my question. Is there any particular ongoing policies tried by either the Ugandan government or any African government that you know that ought to stop now if we are going to be able to rescue Africa? Unmute yourself, then you answer.
Okay, sorry. I got the last part of the question, but I didn't get the first one. It was unstable, but then I'm sorry. You have to repeat the question. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Is there any ongoing policy of your government or any African government that you think should stop now if Africa is to ever begin the march forward?
Okay, so if I got the question clearly, you said, is there any policy that has to stop now if Africa has to move forward? Is that the question?
Yes.
Yes?
Okay, what
Hello, my
policy is that?
network is maybe.
Just keep speaking. I can
Is
hear
that the
you
question?
very well.
Okay, thank you so much. First of all, the policy of African leaders claiming to be gods, I think it should stop currently, because now when you look at the current leadership we have, you do not point at a throne. Like, for example, my country, Uganda, you cannot, in case you want, there are thieves or people who have embezzled funds. and for some good reason they have lived on with it. But then if you point at at the the chair of the big man, that is a bad you will lose your life or fame or anything. So I think that should stop. And then the other thing is constant getting of loans from people. Currently, what is trending is the China. I don't know to other African countries, but currently China is giving so many loans to our country, and these come with, like I had said, tied aid. They come with questions. So if we could develop a mechanism of stopping this, or not even stopping, okay, reducing, because we may need the money. Currently, we cannot walk alone, as I can term it. We need the money, but we could reduce this. There is going to come a time when the loans that we have as a nation cannot be paid even by our own grandchildren, and then our country has to be taken. So I think that should be given a stop. And then I don't know what is wrong with some African leaders. Like for example, while uniting Africa as one, there were two sides. There was the Monrovia group and then the Casablanca group. Some of them refused. They were like, no, 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 let's put a bridge. Let's put a bridge. So it went up to so many years till now. There isn't one Africa. And yes, integration is important and very key. But then some opportunists and want to use it as gaining power to a bigger square mile of land. So I think if you could change that thinking, that narrative, that would be okay. Thank you so much. I'm hoping I've answered.
Okay. And if you can see the
Okay, and
second question on the chat
another
there.
thing before you put a question, I wish to answer this.
Yes.
Okay, thing the Ugandan youth have done is they have become educated. Like me, yes, I'm educated. I know things. They can research. They have researched, and they have tried to demand for leadership. Though I don't know what happens to other countries, but it is pretty much different here. Yeah. So in case a person of my age comes out, because we have bourgeois veterans, they fought to liberate the country. So they're like, no, we cannot give our country to the youths. But yet, they have tried to reach out to other international organizations. Yes, they've tried to demand for the leadership that we want to have, like youths. And then more involvement. We have now so many MPs that are below the age of 30 that are currently in the parliament. And in other posts, we have police, big ranking police officers that are youths currently. So they are trying to step in and own what is theirs currently. We are not chasing away the elderly group, but we are just saying, okay, let's drive for some time. We've been driven by some age, so now it has to be put at a limit. But the only challenge we have is whoever comes out, okay, not whoever, most people that come out, there are three options. So you either have to be bribed, or to be tortured, to be threatened, or sometimes, if it goes worse, to be killed. So we are trying to legitimately gain control of the government as youths, but it is not simple. But it is a work in progress. We are trying. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. I think you got this right. It is a work in progress, and that's what it will be. And we all need to continue to do what we can to prepare. And I like the idea that the Ugandan youth are preparing. They are getting education. Education is very important. Though the education we are getting from these people are those were introduced by the colonial masters, which is how to obey, no education on how to think, you know. But we need to get the education anyway to be able to be prepared. So to to have that transition happen. So the next thing that is important, and let me leave this as a script so that if you are not able to hear me well, you can get it. The
Okay.
Ugandan youth, Ugandan youth, are they doing all they can so that those young ones in power right now who are able to get into the legislature, into senior policy positions, are they doing different than the old people?
Okay, so like as I said earlier, I think Uganda had for some time has been ruled by a military government, whereby um, even bigger offices come here, let it be parliament, let it be legislature, and some other departments have been assigned to military officers. But then the narrative keeps on changing. You know, yes, I'm a youth. This is what I want. You know, this is how I view the security. The people back then have a mentality of war. You know, everything has to be solved by war. And whenever you hear a senior government officer uh, speaking in a conference, they're like, if you want to have it, you know, do one thing. Go to what? Go to the bush and fight, like we did. And that is a different narrative, apparently, for the educated people. Yes. And we want to take it by freely and not by war. Not everything is won by war. Otherwise, if the youth started engaging in war, uh, country will go in turmoil. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to step into these positions slowly by slowly, and we are doing different. Yes, passing laws that do not oppress the fellow youths. You know, I think uh, I think that is it. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. And we had people who had come and to view this, and they left up to 5 likes from your broadcast, and then they left these comments, and somebody is hoping that it's going to be okay. And I mean, we are hoping it will be okay, and that is exactly why we are here at this conference. Okay, thank you very much for coming to the conference. The conference has not finished. It's still going on until about the end of December, and from the feelers I'm getting, it might go beyond December because many people are calling to say, "Hey, I need to be on it. I need to speak." So, and we are
Yeah.
programming people as they come. So, thank you. Stand by. We'll view the other sessions of the conference. Ultimately, we will have a publication from what is coming from here, the thoughts that you people are putting together. So, be available because, like you said, we can only take it as Africa. If we take it one by one, country by country, we are not going to get it. It will be
Yeah.
difficult. I think it will be easier if the whole Africa youth say this is what we want and they support each other across the board. It will make a lot more sense. So, I do thank you very much for your time and for the contributions you have made. This is highly appreciated. Um, there's a comment here from Amos. And Amos has said, I hope you have young people following your state with such great ideas in your country. I think you need to respond to that. Amos is asking, I hope you, Abdul, have young people following your state in what you are doing with such great ideas in your country. Do you have such? Do you have a thought about that?
Oh, thank you, Amos. That is really wonderful. But then, as you said it, yes, I do. And it is a whole batch of people. You see, they are stepping up. Back then, we used to be afraid of engaging ourselves in politics. We had this perspective that was given to us that leadership is for the grown-up people. It is only for them. But then, as time went on, we've been engaging, and I have a group with me. Yes, it supports me in case of anything, and it gives me ideas. I give them ideas, and we are really doing good. Thank you, Amos, for asking that. It is really such a nice question. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. At this point, Abdul, we would like to say goodbye to you and thanks, and stand by and watch the rest of the conference and continue to make your comments and contributions and questions so that we can get
Okay.
what we want, the purpose of this
Okay.
conference. Thank you very
Okay.
much,
Thank you
Abdul.
so much.
Okay, well, viewers, we are so glad that you have been with us on this African Youth Conference and continuing. We appreciate every bit of your contribution and time. Um, when we return back to the conference delegates and speakers, we will have Gideon Perempe Owusu from Ghana speak to us and then take questions from the public, those who are viewing, and then from me in the studios also. So before we bring on uh, Gideon, let's take a message from our sponsors, and then after that we will continue.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Graceworth Nigeria Limited. Graceworth Nigeria Limited is a Nigerian-owned and operated company using seasoned and accomplished professionals to execute complex security missions in conjunction with the host government to mitigate risk on behalf of our clients. Our team members have decades of experience in the security sector, bringing a wealth of knowledge and experience that not all security companies are able to offer. The success of the company is based on our unrivaled ability to build and maintain successful partnerships with our customers to provide professional and reliable security services. We pride ourselves on providing highly trained personnel experienced in dealing with the most complex of security issues. Since our formation, we have gained a reputation as a highly experienced company with a young, energetic and forward-thinking management team, offering the highest level of professionalism. We offer the following services such as security awareness and training, program support and consultancy, risk assessments and investigations, executive protection and travel management. To contact us on +234 807 227 2799 0702 525 4858, or visit our office at 14 Buchanan Crescent, off Amanucano Crescent, West 2, Abuja FCT, Nigeria. We would be glad to have you.
Thank you, viewers and African Rising Generation. This is your time. It would not be my privilege to invite Gideon Perempe Owusu from out of Ghana to address this African Youth Conference. We'd like Gideon to unmute himself and get ready to join us in the studios to be able to participate in this program. Gideon, it is good to welcome you to the conference.
Thank you very much, Mr. Francis. I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, you have the floor right now. Please go ahead and address the conference.
Thank you. So I think most of us, we have had experience with leadership. So basically, when we talk about leadership in this context that we talk about Africa, we have leaders, or leadership basically is an opportunity for people, our African leaders, to lead us to a goal as Africa. Unfortunately, for the most part, the problem we have, even as we identify the leadership problem or crisis, I feel Africa as a continent and the individual countries, we don't really have set out goals and objectives we want to achieve. We can attest to this from the campaigns our leaders run. The politicians, they talk based on what they think can fetch them votes, because they know there is no clear outline as to what the people want. So we have a leadership crisis, and we have a goal or objective crisis also in Africa. Because of this situation, we have had a lot of problems in Africa concerned with corruption, which I think every African country is experiencing it or has experienced it before. Where we have large tribes or ethnicities too, we kind of find nepotism, favoritism, ethnocentrism, all these things with our leadership. We also have a lot of leaders who exhibit mediocrity in all that they do. People pay taxes, but when they do projects, they feel they are the ones who deserve all the applause, even though it's not their own pocket money. And one other thing maybe we have failed to look at is the way democracy is practiced in Africa. Our traditional leaders had some form of democracy which helped us go a long way even before our colonial masters came in. But with the introduction of democracy as we currently have it in Africa, this really is the root of most of the problems we are having with leadership in Africa. I know very well in our traditional system, especially in Ghana, we had elected representatives from each family contributing to decision making. And I think this is similar to, I think in Nigeria they say Senate. Here in Ghana we say Member of Parliament, and I think it's maybe similar in other countries. So when you look at it, it kind of shadows the same things we are doing here. But unfortunately, the democracy we practice right now, only politicians basically decide what happens in the country. The moment we cast our vote and they come to power, they are given the power to even alter the constitution, alter a lot of legislative instruments. And when that happens, we kind of give them all the powers, and that is where problems come. I think currently in Ghana, one thing I have noticed is that with this democracy, we have a lot of young people who go on radio and the only thing you hear them talk about is insulting their opponents. They find problems. That is not how we should go. I remember very well when I was young, I was told that we are the future. I am still old and I don't know when I'll become the future. I think this is very common everywhere. People are saying the same thing, the youth. And I think Barack Obama said something that we are the change we have been waiting for. So it is time that we learn. We just don't complain about it. We learn and give the leadership opportunities. We grab them, not by any cruel or any untoward means, but we grab them the best and constitutional way that we can. And when we are doing that, we are able to also motivate the youth. And one thing too with politics in Africa is that I think some of the youth going in politics right now has even failed the larger youth. So it is not an older generation problem. It is just a political leadership problem. The youth go in and they try to make money. They forget the principles they stood on. And I think these are some of the things that are problems. In my country, Ghana, almost everybody frowned on corruption. But when the coronavirus came, people hiked the prices of their goods. You couldn't even afford to buy them. Something that was costing about 7 cedis was now about 40 cedis. So corruption, you can look at it that it is not just leadership, it has become more like a social thing. When people are benefiting, they don't have problem with it. But when they feel others are benefiting at their expense, that is when we rise. And it all stems from the basic society. Our values are changing. And the earlier we go back to our values that we have as Africa, the better we can be. When people do what is wrong, instead of them to face punishment, we try to solve it amicably, as say in Africa. In Ghana, we say, give it to God, or God will judge the person. That is the problem of Africa. Religion coupled with leadership has been the problem of Africa. So once we are able to be logic in things, that changes. If people are punished for the crimes they commit as leaders, that is when we can have a peaceful Africa, a progressive Africa. We need to draw developmental plans and agendas for every country and even the continent as a whole. If we are able to do these things, we know that when our leaders come, they're not just going to give us the campaign promises, but they are going to tell us how the goals that we've drawn as a country, they'll be able to help us achieve it. We don't want the normal leaders that come and they will tax the people, they will increase the price of things so that they make extra money to do projects. If we have leaders who know how to get extra money for the country by not monitoring our natural resources, by not taking huge sums of loans with high interest, but in ways that we are able to gather something to develop the country, we can use our local contractors. They normally charge less than our foreign contractors. We can use a lot of the labor here. Even if they charge higher, the money is still within the country. If we have leaders like that, that is what we can develop as a country or and even as a continent. And I think our first speaker also talked about unity in Africa. When you look at it, I was reading something about Congo, and they said Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, they have coltan, which is used in making mobile phone. I think they have the highest deposit. But look at how Congo is faring. And I think it is all because of leadership crisis. If Africa is able to come together, we can control the markets, we send the natural resources, but we don't even have the power to decide how we want to sell it for. People tell us how much they rather we want to buy them for, and we have no option than to just give in. So these are all some of the problems. We need leaders who are bold, not timid leaders. We need leaders who like their people and don't want to kowtow to other international leaders. I don't like President Donald Trump for some of the things he stands for, but I like one thing about him: the way he tries to let all his policies profit Americans first before considering other countries. Unfortunately enough, I am yet to see leaders who do that. I am yet to see a leader who thinks about his people first, make policies that will benefit the people first. All that they know and they are very able to do is that in the microphones, in the face of the media, they will talk, but on the ground, that is not what happens. And these are all things we need to understand. Sometimes we as people, we know our leaders are lying, and they know we know they are lying, but don't let them go. And these are all some of the problems. We have people who even beat their own siblings for leaders. And these are some of the challenges. So I've spoken about some of the problems. As I said, we need a developmental plan for each country in Africa. And when the time is right, if we come together as a continent, we need a continental developmental plan with set deadlines and how we are going to accomplish them. We also need to really educate our people, civic education, for them to understand what the Constitution entails in every country. If they understand that, they know the consequences of interpretation of our Constitution, where we need changes to be made, I think they would require that we do those changes. And we have to embrace our traditional way of governance, where everybody is included, not the highest bidder. Now, people are leaders in Africa because they can bid high, but if you're able to change that so that people with the best ideas are the ones who are selected, but not who are able to buy. If we do that, we can go far. And one thing we also have to do is that we have to really educate our people. Education. If the opportunity is there, free, valuable education, not just free, like substandard education, but education that is valuable. If our people have that, they will have the mental capacities to scrutinize policies, to be able to make their concerns known. And when this happens, that is when we gear towards a prospective Africa. Yesterday, I was discussing with a friend about some of the problems we have. And one thing I was telling a friend was that when our colonial masters were in, when they, I will call it sales of Africa, they paid themselves first, and what remained, they used to develop Africa. But with the introduction of our own brothers as leaders, now they come in because they are also paying their white superiors or masters. They come in and they have to pay those people first. Perhaps they took loans from those people to become leaders, so they pay them first. Whatever is remaining, they pay themselves before whatever is left, they now give to the people. So if we are able to really demand accountability of our leaders, block these international countries from meddling in our political affairs. That is the way we go. I always find it difficult to understand why, when we're having elections in Africa, we have EU observers from our countries and all that. But when they are having elections, we don't have observers from Africa in the elections. It's something I have never understood, why they have so much interest in our elections. And that is what should tell us that we have a leadership crisis. We also have some of our leaders, they make people respect them enough to give them power. They come and they alter things to favor them. I think currently we are experiencing some in Cote d'Ivoire, where the president, before he came, there were a lot of challenges. He came and now he altered the constitution so he could go for a third term. These are all some of the challenges. People who have the strength and even want to invest here, they don't because they are afraid. They don't want to speak and they will be arrested or something. I don't know much about Uganda, but I read about one Bobby Wine who was standing up for what he thought was right, and some of the treatment that was made up to him. I think the more they do that, people become afraid and they don't bring out the ideas that they have. And that intimidation is also one of our major leadership challenges. They use more government agencies to just comment people, forgetting that these government agencies are there because of the people. As we look at some of the challenges, we also look at some of the age of the leaders we have. We have leaders now who don't understand technology, who don't understand what is going on now, and who, some of them, I would say, are stagnant to change. When you look at Africa, I don't know, but I don't think any of our leaders may be less than 40 years old. And that is really not good. We have leaders making very, very bad decisions for us because they don't understand what is going on. In Ghana, we pay a lot of taxes. When you want to import cars in Ghana, you pay a lot of duties. But when you look at the salary range of people, it is not even able to match some of these things. So I wonder why the older generation just tax people. You don't see where the taxes are going, but people are suffering. And now you see demonstrations. Even when people are demonstrating because of work conditions, you see government agencies threatening them with court actions. So these are all some of the things that are going on in Africa, and we need to take a look at. Our leadership crisis, we look also at our religious people. Instead of them to help teach us the morals, we have our religious people, a lot of them, not all of them, a lot of them. They meddle in politics, they prophesy about politics, who is becoming president, they prophesy about football, soccer, and other things. And instead of them to teach people the moral values of our society, now they don't. What we focus on is prosperity gospel. People now think that any situation they are in, once they are able to make money, God is blessing them and God is okay with them. And that is the genesis of our problem. Almost everybody in Africa believes that there is God. It's a smaller percentage believing otherwise. If our religious leaders were doing what is expected of them, we would have people with high morals who become leaders and they don't abandon their morals. We have some of these religious leaders being in controversial positions in government. And these are all some of the leadership crises that we are having. We institutions, education institutions, where before you can get admission, you need to know a politician or have to go. These are all the genesis of our problems. Our educational sector compromised, our religious bodies compromised, our courts. We have people who are there by virtue of their political affiliations. So it becomes more like a cabal who are just protecting themselves, making money off Africa, and putting Africa in danger. In Ghana here, during the recent election that was held on the 7th of December, there were a lot of pictures going around and a lot of videos showing that politicians were actually paying people, giving them gifts before they would vote for them. Not just one party, But from what I saw, the two major political parties, they were all doing it. So once that happens, just know that when they come, they are coming to recoup their monies. And these are all some of the challenges we are having. And as I talk about some of these things, I talk about what the youth which you can do. If we have the opportunity to form youth groups that can demand right governance from ATTENDEES, that can train people on what leadership entails, we will go a long way. Myself, I have had a chance to be a leader in my religious body, at school, and even in the community. We currently have one NGO, non-governmental organization that we focus on the young ones. We call it the Purity Foundation. We try to educate them on what opportunities are available to them to hone their skills, to become leaders, and even educational opportunities for them. We are doing this with the intent that they will get mentors who are honorable people in the society so that they can teach them and shadow them. Once they are taught the right thing, I believe that when they grow, it will be very difficult for them to depart from it. When we have the opportunity to make a change, let's take that. I've also seen that when I was a student leader, I realized no matter what you do, some people also feel that once you are a leader or you're a politician, you are automatically corrupt. So you see that people don't also have any expectations of leaders. So once some people realize that, oh, no matter what I do, people think I'm a bad person, they tend to be a bad person. They tend to make money because they know that no matter what, that is what people will say. And if our people also know these things, they can change the expectations of leaders. And once they do that, leaders would have no option than to do or satisfy expectations of followers. These are all some of the things I think we need to look at. I think because of time, I won't go very much. But once we are able to look at some of these things, it will go a long way to help our countries and Africa. And I must say, I am very happy. The meeting has been very wonderful. I would be happy to answer some questions so that our last speaker would also have some time to also talk to you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gideon. This is very strong and very powerful points you have made. And I assure you, Africans are listening because people have been popping up in and out of this conference. They are attending it. And of course, the product of this conference will be automatically saved on my profile, Francis Merribo, on Facebook, on the African Town Hall Facebook page, and on Dating and Marriage Question and Answers Facebook page. And it will be uploaded to the YouTube, where you can also find it on the channel of the African Town Hall. Okay, Gideon, you made very serious points, and I would like to take you up on some of them. One is you talked about the fact that even some youths who are assessing political power in Ghana now as we speak, some of them are also struggling with focusing on what is important for the youth. The question I want to ask is, how can we help this kind of people? Is there any way we can help these people? They are young, they know what is at stake, they have access political power, and then they do not have capacity to do what will improve the places we want them to go. Do you have an idea?
Okay, all right. So I think on that, one challenge with the youth who are struggling with that is that they get there and they have what they call godfathers. So they get there, and even though in the limelight they are the ones you are seeing, you can tell that they are being manipulated by their so-called godfathers or mentors. So I think one of our speakers mentioned earlier that the godfatherism in African leadership is something that we are critical. Once people are independent to make their own decisions, I think that is the best way that we can help them. Unfortunately, with the advent of political parties bringing flag bearers, I haven't seen any country in Africa where an independent candidate has won elections. Political parties are the cause of this. But for now, we may not be able to do away with these political parties and godfatherism. But if a lot of youth are entering into political parties, they would have a higher chance to decide who becomes their flag bearer or who becomes their leader. And once the majority of youth are the ones choosing people, they will choose somebody who aligns with the ideals of a young person. So I think that is, for now, that is the best way that we can help. But as time goes on, there may be many opportunities that you get. We are getting the chance now. We have some young people in Ghanaian politics now. So we are hoping that the time will come that we will have a lot. So for now, that is the few things that we can be able to do to help them. And when they are wrong too, we should point to them that we demand much of them. And I like what Nigerians did with respect to Desmond Elliot. I think he did something the young people were not happy, and they pointed it out to him. And I think he later came to apologize. And I know that even though the temptation will be there for him to do that again, now he knows what can happen if he does that again. And I think for now, we are doing better, and there will be much room for improvement in the future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And as you responded to that question, something that has occurred during the period of this conference so far is two schools of thought. One, the rising generation, the youth, they make up 60% or more of the African voting population and even the African population. And the two schools of thought is one, these rising generation people coming together to flood any of the existing political parties with their mindset and the ideologies they have in mind, which in the hope of using their influence to get the right things done inside these political parties. And then the other school of thought is, no, these political parties by old people are already dangerous. They will not allow anybody to do something right inside it. And then they are saying the young people should form their own political party. And so can you come in between these two line of thought? Is there anything you think can be the final line? Or do you align to any one of them?
Okay. I may not belong to any of the two because I feel that would not help. The young people too, we have some youthful exuberance that sometimes they take some harsh decisions. It is important that we are able to learn from the older generation. Once we have a history, we know the wrongs they did. Once you know somebody is wrong, or once you know you are wrong, then it means at that moment you are not wrong. So once we know the things that people are doing that needs to be changed, that is when we can alter that change. So we don't need to, the young people don't need to form their own parties, but they can learn the art of governance from the older people. And for now, the parties that are already in existence, they are the ones majority of people subscribe to. So if you form your own political party, now they can use their own party machinations against you. Just like the NSAS protest in Nigeria, where people allege government of the young people. That is what will happen if young people decide to go on their own. But once they are learning the art of governance from people, by the time that they become aware, they will see that the parties are now overpowered by young people, and they will have no option to allow the young people to lead. And I think for now, that's the best that we may have to. But I don't think it is ripe yet for us to have a young people party now. They may not have the needed support from the, I would say, the people. That for me, that's my point.
Okay, thank you. Now, what do you think about the danger of these young people learning governance from corrupt old people? Would they not learn only corrupt system of governance?
Okay, all right. So as I said, Corruption has to do more with morals. I don't think there is a form of governance that teaches corruption. Everybody, even in the best system of governance, can become corrupt the moment their morals become eroded. They see big sums of money, they see big contracts, and when greed sets in, corruption may occur. So that's what I mentioned first, the religious leaders, if they are doing what they expected to do. So this leadership crisis, it doesn't take only leaders to change it or people in leadership positions. Each sector of society must work before this can come to fruition. If religious leaders are working, for instance, I am a politician. I go to church and everybody has an idea of how much I was earning before I became a politician. Now I go and I'm making extravagant donations. A correct religious leader will sit me down and ask me my source of income, because they are supposed to help me gain salvation. But once they also enjoy the peace and they don't talk about it, it continues. So it's just a balanced situation. Once that's happening, I don't think they may learn corrupt practices from the older generation.
Okay, and I would like to kind of have your thoughts on the fact that Ghana just concluded a presidential and parliamentary election, and then right now we don't know exactly how many young people are participated in that election. Could you see any sign that young people are becoming more enthusiastic to take their place in political activities in Ghana from this last election?
Okay, all right. So we had a lot of young people people need education. There's one particular MP, almost everybody in Ghana is shocked why he lost his election. He's called Dr. Okoboy, who was the former Deputy Minister of Health. The reason that people didn't vote for him from sources that they said he doesn't attend funerals and naming ceremonies in the constituency. So that's what I said, expectations of the people. When you expect less, your leaders exhibit mediocrity. So the people's expectations plus the religious leaders will help us get the best system of governance. I know where I am from, Ashanti region, whenever a chief misbehaves, they are distilled by the Otumfo, and because of that, it is common for you to see traditional leaders meddling in criminal activities and activities that the society frowns upon. And that is what I want us to read in our political sphere, because the traditional system, they are doing very well, and I think we can learn from them. And it is from that angle I am making these suggestions.
Okay, thank you very much for your thoughts that you have put forward. I want to commend you for the address you have made. Those were very wise address. You made a lot of points that hit the need, the challenge that we face now, and you brought forward some ideas we can use to improve the way things are. And your response to the questions have been very sensible, and it is highly appreciated. Thank you for coming and being able to speak at this conference. We want you to invite your friends to provide their time to come and speak at this conference, because we want all the voices to be heard. The
All
more
right.
they are, the better. So thank you very much, Gideon, for being with us at this conference. Stay nearby and make comments and ask questions on the chat bar, and then love this proceeding so that we can use it to build this further. I want you to anticipate the fact that we will come back to you again as soon as the conference is over to organize the result of this conference. So much things are coming out of it. I'm excited. I expect that we need to come back to a particular table, several of us, and then say, hey, this is what we have done. This is our achievement in this conference. This is what we need to do going forward. We want to organize all of that. I think there's a comment here I'd like you to respond to. Amos Elaigu Adiku, who is going to be our next speaker as soon as you leave this the conference podium. He's saying that the current art of governance by African leaders is simply like a virus. The more people learn from them, the more they get contracted by the misgovernance virus. And with such chain of ill-continued art of governance, the worse our situation. You know, I shared some concern with you earlier. If these people go learn from the old politicians, would they learn the bad thing? Amos is thinking about the same thing. And if you have seen what Amos has said, do you have a thought or two, a new line of thought on what Amos has said?
Okay, I think let me pass a comment. You know, the truth is we can't when we talk about African leaders, we are not just talking about political leaders. Well, let me say from Ghana, when we talk about leaders, those are not the only people we talk about. And there are other people that we really have to learn from. For instance, I mentioned our tradition is somebody like the Otunfo Oteju. I do not know if you have heard about him.
Yeah, I think I have.
He's one such person. He's giving the youth, the young people, wonderful opportunities to learn what leadership is. And these are the leaders we are to learn from. So these are the people I would want leaders to learn the art of governance from. How he involves people, how he thinks about his people, the scholarship schemes, all his projects are just about the people. And the way people who do wrong things, who engage in acts that are not correct, the way that he sanctions them, that is what leadership is about. He is in the older generation. We have leaders that are doing very well in Africa that we can't take from them. And for such leaders, we learn from them. I understand we have those who are very, very bad. For those, we shun them. But we can't just say all of them because they are currently leaders, all leaders. No, we can't say that. If we do that, then we are not being truthful to ourselves. Because I have something like you, brother, somebody like you, brother Francis, that I admire you so much. And to me, you are a leader, so I have to learn from you. But I don't think you are in a political position. But you are a leader, all right. So when we talk about leadership, we look so much at our political leaders, but we have other leaders that we are able to learn very well from. They have given us an alternative. If we didn't know there was an alternative, we wouldn't know what good governance is. And it is because of leaders like Otunfo, people like you, Brother Francis, that we know that we can get better. And that is what I was making a point about.
Okay, this is great. I mean, it is very powerful clarification of issues here. And I think it is good for the rising generation to know that there are more people to learn from. And in fact, we should not learn from those politicians we already know are corrupt. And we can learn leadership.
Good. We already also.
Exactly. From other teachers, from other influencers in society whose influence are positive. And then we'll bring what we learn from them in leadership positions when we acquire political leadership positions. So that's a great point there. So we are going to keep running on this school of thought, keep gathering your own point on the two school of thoughts. One that says away with the old totally, form a youth political party, and the one that said, hey, we can continue to take over gradually the existing political space, political parties, using, but not the lessons we learn from the bad politicians, but lessons we learn from all the other good politicians and other leaders we know have something to do. But Amos' point, we must not forget, that point is standing very strong because they are like truly the kind of bad politics that we have in Africa. It looks like virus, and it looks like a gangland. It's disturbing to anybody who kind of imagines where those with so much power are wielding it criminally in such a way that not becoming any influence, attraction influence for good for the young people. But you have made your point, and that is great, and I highly appreciate it. And I'm sure the rest of Africa have heard you today, and they appreciate what you have said. And we will move forward. So thank you for being with us at this conference, Gideon. And
Thank you.
and stay close by. Bring more of your friends to speak and stay close to speak again and to make comments and ask questions and like and love what we are doing in this place. It will help the project. Thank you. You have a great time.
Thank you too. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. Okay, viewers, this is great. This conference have been proceeding with such beauty, with such power. In a short while, we'll be expecting Amos Elaigu Adiku to come to the studios to join us. Before he comes, let's take a message from the Town Hall Communication Company, those who have set up this conference, to share with us why they took on the project.
Hello everyone. You are all welcome to the Africa Youth Conference. We would be discussing about the African leadership question, problems and prospects.
Can we hear the statement of the problem?
The African continent and the African people are currently in the deepest part of a quagmire from the effects of colonialism, continual exploitation, intentional degradation, corruption, ineptitude, nepotism and a blinding brainless ruling class. As a young man myself, I am 64 years of age now. People who promised my generation, the youth back then, that we are the leaders of tomorrow are still ruling in Africa and producing nothing but ruination for the greatest continent made by God on this earth.
The rising generation / youth of Africa, having been beguiled by the text of being the leaders of tomorrow, never learned that tomorrow never comes.
The dominant feeling is that we do not have leaders in Africa. The kindest ways to refer to those who are sitting over the fortunes of Africa are as rulers. Personally, I see those in power in Africa at present, with the exception of Mr. Paul Kagame of Rwanda, as agents of ruin bent on destroying the continent, with the connivance of foreign business and political interests, through the suppression of the youth and all voices of dissent.
From Uganda to Cote d'Ivoire, to Nigeria to Cameroon, with Nigeria being the worst case scenario, we have deadwoods and old men in their 80s and 90s ruling as presidents and senators. Some of these people started ruling from the age of 28 years of age and are now in their 90s and still ruining the continent.
Being totally disconnected to the needs of the future of the continent, represented by the young people of Africa, they have ensured that the educational system is either faulty or does not work at all, with universities opening for only a quarter of the time they are supposed to be open each year.
African rulers, like witches, are happy to kill their young ones. In Nigeria, the Nigeria police force and the military delight in unlawful and extrajudicial killing of their young ones, under guises that does not in any way warrant the use of water cannon for dispersing the people. The #EndSARS protest in Nigeria was murderously quelled by live bullets, reportedly killing over 70 youths.
Our program?
We, at the African Town Hall Online Television, believe that the problem of Africa is leadership. In line with our main objective of helping the rising generations of Africa to speak out, and let their voice be heard, with a view to changing the current detrimental narrative, we have created the African leadership question, problems and prospects.
Wonderful. This program, the African leadership question, problems and prospects, is set up to bring the rising generations together to seek to understand the problem of leadership in Africa and to consider the prospects for the desired change. With us in the studio to discuss this topic are rising generations persons from all over Africa. In this month, December 2020, we would assemble every Wednesday first at 11 a.m. in the morning and then at 9 p.m. Nigerian time to discuss this issue. It is hoped that before the end of December 2020, more than 100 African youth have been able to share their opinion on this matter. At the end, we would articulate a communiqué that would be read on the last day of our meeting. We invite all African youth to come and participate, both from our studios and from comments on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter, to provide direction for the African youth both in the continent and in the diaspora, a way forward for the renaissance of the African continent.
So, join us. And stay tuned, and keep participating.
Thank you very much, everyone, and welcome back to this great occasion. We are happy to have as our next speaker, Amos Elaigu Adiku from Nigeria. Before him, we have heard from Abdul from Kampala, Uganda, and Gideon Owusu from Ghana. Now it is our turn to learn from Amos Adiku from Nigeria. Amos, please welcome to our studios.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. It's so good to have you here again, and we are looking forward to one of those incisive powers that you can give out when it comes to making points on these issues. So, we would like you to take the floor now, address the conference, and then after your address, we will take any questions that comes from either the viewers or from the studios. So, well, viewers, we invite you to get your questions ready, leave them as comments on the chat bar, and make comments on whatever you are hearing at this conference, so that Amos will have time to deal with them in due course. Amos.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me, my fellow Africans, young minds particularly, who are present in this assembly. I want to first of all appreciate all those that have spoken before me. We on this show, Abdul, Owusu. I follow them keenly, and I learned so much from them. In as much as we may have some diverse opinions, it is part of why we are here, so that we can have a way forward. And having heard from them, personally, concerning this very conference, the aim and its objective, we are actually making progress. And regarding the African leadership questions, of course, truly, we as Africans, we have challenges. There are so many challenges, no doubt, that we are facing, both as a continent and as our various independent states or countries. But nevertheless, we have understand that and agree that we have a problem. And commonly, we also accept that part of those problems are the problem of leadership, which no doubt both the people struggling to keep us in our perpetual misgovernance, the European nations and the Americas and all of that, they also know that we have a leadership problem. Okay, so it is not just about us knowing that we have a leadership problem, but it is a way out. They don't want us to have a way out, but we, the young generations, we want a way out. And part of it is why we are gathered here. Yes, truly, beginning from probably before every African countries got their independence, we had issues. At the end of the day, we thought after gaining political independence, every other thing will become a secondary option to us. That was the first notion. I think in one of those things, it was Kwame Nkrumah who said that grant us political independence and every other thing will follow. So in the first place, we thought having or gaining political independence will be free. Now we have political independence, the so-called political independence, but over and over, we are still yet not free. We are now even more slaves than we were even when in the hands of our colonial masters. And that brings to problem that who actually are our problem. The leaders we have today, who are they? Are they not the same brothers and sisters that we have? Our parents are all those that we know. They are not alien to us. Okay, so, and that brings to the table a very serious concern. If I can be oppressed by someone who knows me, someone who knows my condition, someone who knows my history, then I should not expect less from those who know nothing about me. And that is a problem we face today in such a way that even when an African goes to other countries, the developed countries, that stigma still lies in them, and the bottom line is, for us to have a way forward, for me, I have been able to noted that other than the leadership problem that we have, the leadership problem is in its context encompasses a whole lot of other problems, and for us to be able to solve those leadership problems, some other key points bringing about or shaping or forming the entire leadership has to be addressed. We're in a country where most people value even religion more than leadership. You know, religion has been one of the center stage after our independence. Yes, going forward, we have this issue of so much attention to the religious. I'm a religious person. I'm not in any way saying that religion is bad, but to a very large extent, we have a system of religion in Africa that makes us feel good, really makes us feel good, but it doesn't make us any better. And that's a problem. You know, I have a religion that teaches me to feel good, and at the same time be good. But in the larger context in African nations, we have religions that demand so much of their feelings that they become so affiliated to, and at the end of the day, they don't do the right things. And it is from these religious bodies that we now have our leadership. Okay, so a failure from leadership also has connection to the failure of that fundamental principle of our religion, and on down to how we are all being brought up. Owusu talks about leadership not should be looked at from only the political class. Yes, from our various families and all of that. It is those morals that we learn. And today, I can tell you, we have some good leaders who are so terrible. They see themselves as good leaders. We may acknowledge them as good leaders, but they are very terrible because I'm saying terrible because most of them have good parents. They have been taught these morals, but the system has made them terrible, and they have no option than to play into the system. Okay, so we have a very corrupt system that has been able to successfully cover the entire shape of whatever system that we have. And when you are looking at the particular system, what comes to your mind is the issue of corruption. And secondly, too, we have the system of education that is so bad. You know, we have been configured to always remember. That is the kind of education that we have. We are taught to remember. We are not taught to think. We are not taught to be creative. We are only taught to remember. And when you are taught to remember something, anytime you are in a position to be taught, and your job is to always remember, that places you at a very subservient level. You are more or less like a servant, because someone does the thinking, someone does the creativity, and yours is just to remember this. Okay, so we are not taught to think, and that brings our educational system into a very serious question, in the sense that we need a total overhaul of our academic systems in mostly African countries, you know, especially we in the Nigerian part of the continent. We need a system of education that can enable us to be innovative. Yesterday, I was speaking with a friend, and I was asking him of one of his mates that I know who studied mechanical engineer. He studied mechanical engineering, rather. And he told me the guy is out of job. He doesn't have a job and he's in Lagos. And I asked him, he studied mechanical engineering. I let him start up a shop. He said, why am I talking like that? That they are only taught the theoretical part. They can't even fix an engine. You know? Okay, so at the end of the day, that brings that entire education of that young man from the scratch down to the very top. Someone who has a BSc in mechanical engineering cannot even fix an engine. You know, so our education system has to be looked into holistically. And more to it, we need a constitutional reform in the whole of Africa. We have a very, very wicked constitution, a constitution that in its context favors only a few set of persons. And until that constitution, particularly like Nigeria, if we do not have an overhaul, a complete abolition of the 1999 constitution as either amended or as constituted, there's no possible ways that we have to make progress. And in quotes, just like Abdul Riley said earlier on, we have a system of governance that has made our leaders so powerful. They become like demigods. You know, the leaders become unquestionable, and they make our political offices so magnified that without them, there is no us. It should be without us, there is no them, but it has become without them, there is no us. So this appear to be like our gods, a demigod to us. And we too have chosen to see them in that light, and we've given them the go ahead that have made the offices of this political elite very, very, very powerful. You know, recently the president was to appear in the National Assembly to give them security briefing. What is happening? But he refused to show up. He said it's not coming. Even the Attorney General of Nigeria said they don't have the right to summon him. Okay, so until we begin to look into the constitution that we have and weaken the power attached to some of these offices, let it be the people's constitution and not the political elite constitution. Because I know that if we have the people's constitution, there will be so much effort on the part of those that we've put in place to correct some of the abnormalities that we have. But in the nutshell, it is about them. It's not about us. Okay, so going forward, as a people, as young people, looking at this, we have to wake up. This is a revolutionary moment for us. We are waking up and we are inviting others to also wake up. For me, I have to start from myself and my immediate family and all those that are around me. And successfully, as my able speaker from Ghana rightly said, right from our families. I can tell you today, my family, I have a family, a very large family. And out of, let's say, 50 or how many of them, I can tell at least 30 of them, please, this is where your vote should go. And they will see reasons for me, and they will do that. It's not about who wants the election. It's about my conscience, about the purpose in which we are voting. Okay, so going forward, we need to set up a system for ourselves. Just as Abdul rightly said, he has a system in place. He has people that buys into his ideas. And the more and earlier we begin to push in our ideas to others to get to know this, the better for us. Those who struggle for our independence have done so much more. Those who corrupt the system now are more than those who fought for the independence. It's only a few of them who fought for independence for us. But today, majority of those who don't even know how the struggles went, how the fight was, the purpose, you begin to ask our questions, what then do we have successive leadership? And that is why, to me, we need to, as a matter of fact, I encourage every young African, if you actually want the liberation of Africa, please, let's go and visit the first OAU summit that they had in Ethiopia. Almost every now and then, I read through the various speeches delivered by each African leadership that represented in that very summit. And you could see a course that they charted clearly for the development of Africa, for the total emancipation, economically, politically, every aspect, educationally, scientifically, was marshaled out. The only problem we had from that summit was lack of continuity and the lack of changes in diverse leadership positions in the African continent that brought about those good speeches, good motivations being put to dust. Nothing was done about it. And today, there is no way, as Abdul said, we need not just an independent state, that we need an independent and unified African countries together before we can be able to win this war. And as Kwame Nkrumah said when he gave his speech in that Addis Ababa conference, he said they must live here with the hope and determination to have one single army as an African army. They should live with one currency. They should live with one economic system, everything that they should live with, everything that they should leave this conference with should be for the unification of Africa. That there's no way any African will exist without the collective unity of each and every one of them. They were looking at the very bigger picture, but today we have failed. None of our leaders are even looking up in that direction. Okay, so going forward, in as much as we need continuity in policies and programs, we need those who understand those principles. those policies. We need those who are able to understand that this is about the people. If you read through the lines of all of those political leadership that attended that conference, it is all about the people of Africa. It is all about the nations in Africa that have not yet gained their independence. It is all about how Africa will be united so that they can be able to rescue themselves even from the new colonialism that we are now suffering today. They saw our day. They saw what was going to befall us, and they made out plans. Okay, so for me, I am a champion of Pan-Africanism. I'm a Pan-African. In fact, in each of African countries, only a few that I don't have somebody that I know from those countries. Okay, the opportunity I've had to mingle with some of them, I know that we can be better. We can make it right, but we cannot make it right if we sit down and look. We have to stand up. We have to educate ourselves. Even when we feel that the educational system is bad, let's still acquire those education. Okay, it is by that same education they are using to misrule us. Let's gain the same education and show them that with this same awkward system of education, something good can come out of it. Okay, and be purposeful and trust ourselves. As young people, we need to trust ourselves. The last time I was on this program one night, some nights ago, I reinstate my position on the problem we have regarding our leadership problem within the young people. We need to trust ourselves, gain that confidence. Okay, today I have been able to, through this conference, I now know some African young minds who are positive. If tomorrow I hear that Owusu from Ghana is contesting for a parliamentary seat or is contesting for any political position in his country, I will have some sense of confidence in me that I know this man will do the job. The same goes to Abdul. The same goes to all those that have participated in this seminar that have come to know their intentions and their mindset concerning Africa and leadership. Okay, so and it is only when we begin to attend to events such as this and many that flies around, that is when we can be able to develop those trusts nationwide among ourselves. Because left for me, the unity of Africa doesn't lie in the hands of our current leadership across Africa. It is never going to happen. I don't see that happening. The unification of Africa is and will come by and through these young generations that we have. And that is subject to only when we accept our responsibilities as young people who are willing, who are desirous for the liberation of Africa. So I'm happy to be here. I look forward to entertaining questions. I look forward for us to be able to chart a course, a good course going forward out of this conference so that at the end of the day, we can be able to hit our hands on the chest, beat our hands to the chest and say, we have not failed our children. We've not failed the generations that are coming after us so that they can be able to follow in that direction for the general good of various countries and Africa at large. Thank you.
Thank you, Amos. Talk about saving the best for the last, and this is very wonderful. All of those who have been here with us today have done great, coming from different points of view. And Amos, you have never failed to stand out very effectively on these matters, and uh, it gives me hope. And this is the reason the idea started, so that people like you can be found, can be discovered, and come out. So, like you said, yeah, you now know Gideon out of Ghana, Gideon Owusu. If he comes out tomorrow, you know the line of thought, you know the way he thinks, and he can increase the hope you have.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That has been a big pleasure doing this role and assignment with you today. And I'd like to ask, actually a few questions before we do something else. And my first question would be to you listen to Gideon make his point on the two. I came up with an idea of say, hey, do we say um, young people should go flood the old political parties, and you warn that those political parties are just simple virus that will eat up anybody that comes close to them. If I will,
Yes.
I will infect everyone that comes to them, and that was, in fact, I've not seen it like that until I heard from you, and that's a very serious point. Now, Gideon is thinking maybe we shouldn't be learning from the political leaders. We can learn from all the other leaders around who are positive. Now, what dangers do you see from his proposal, and what additional thoughts do you think will advance the position you've taken? Because here is what I must tell you: what we finally agree on this conference is going to become. It may not be the total force, but it will be a force on what is going to happen
Yeah.
forward in Africa. Yes.
Sure. Okay. I appreciate his point of view and his own thought. But for me, someone said you cannot, those who destroy your past, you can't guarantee them to give you a better tomorrow.
Serious. Yes.
There is no way that as I am now, I know those who have been ruling my state. I'm sorry to digress from this point. I saw a post on Facebook some days back, and it was maybe you are familiar with that axis in Benue State. Those who live within Logo area, for them the Sankara axis. If you are going to that place, the only option for you to go to your community, it is you park your vehicle, and your vehicle will be towed on a boat to the other side, the River Buruku, and
I know that place. Yes.
good. And you have to now join another boat, the passenger boat, to convey you also to go meet your vehicle there before you can continue your journey. And over last week or so, about 2 vehicles fell into that water.
Oh boy.
And when I saw the post, I was worried. I had to call my friend who is from that. I said, I hope you are not involved. He said no. And I told him, how long will this continue? Don't you have an alternate route? He said the other bridge is so weakened that you feel safer passing through the waters than the bridge.
My goodness.
That in the any small mistake, that bridge can just go down, and which is going to cause you more havoc than you falling from the canoe or boat for survival.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw that, and I commented. I asked a question on that post, and I said, I know that the likes of Gabriel Soswan, the former governor of the state, and some other notable sons and daughters of Benue State are from that axis. So, do they also use the same means of transportation whenever they go or visit their country homes? I dropped that question with the hope to get an answer very, very shortly. And as I had it in mind, it didn't take long. One popular guy in Benue State who champions any kind of protest you want to have in Benue State, Lubem Tekula, is a very popular figure in Benue State, very young, energetic guy, and he responded to that question. He said, yes, that they pass that road anytime they come home. And I said, wow. Okay, that's just a simple example. Now, these are leaders. A lot of people trust those guys from that area, and they follow the same course. Tell me, even if that my friend who is from there becomes a governor today, I'm not sure he's going to do that road. He's not going to construct that bridge, because these are people that he had learned from. These are people that this is a way of life to them. Okay, so for me, from what Owusu said, yes, we have to learn from our leaders, but we need to also choose the kind of leaders that we need to learn from. Personally, if I'm to learn politically, if I'm to learn leadership politically from anybody in Nigeria, I cannot figure out anybody to tell you that this is my mentor politically. So if I get into political office, I'm not going to follow anybody's course. I'm going to chart the course of my own self, of what I have learned from the books, from successful leadership in other developed countries. Of course, we might have those who are doing good, giving scholarship schemes. I have political leaders from my place doing the same thing. But what is the motive behind them doing that? It is to also subject you to their lordship, to keep them where they are. Okay, of course, we have good leaders. But how many of those leaders? I can tell you the National Assembly we have in various countries, it is not all of them that are bad people before getting to that place. It is not. But when they get into that system, they cannot, if you cannot beat them, you join them. And that is what we are having. So if I go to join a political party, let 10 million Nigerian youth flood into PDP today. Sir, I'm promising you, it is until those who are there, who have the say before you were born, will continue to have the say. And they now tell you, buy nomination forms for political parties. That is where they kick us out. It's not about we flooding into that political party. You want to get into governorship race and you are buying a form over 10 million naira. Be on earth with a young man in Nigeria who has not done Yahoo or who has not been a thug to a political leader before. Get such money. That's not away from campaign. You know, you see that they program a system whereby you even spend the monies you are spending to attain a political office is above what you are going to gain legitimately from that office. So why would that system of corruption cease to exist? Tell the political class today that we young people, 15, 13 million of us are coming to that party, and they should, because of us, bring down nomination forms of governorship to 500,000. They will not, because that is where they begin to lose their own stance. Okay, so in as much as we want ourselves to be politically enlightened and to gain space in the political arena, we don't have to associate so much with these bad eggs. They will continue to have the say. In my view, I know that when we have a political party, when AAC was birthed in Nigeria through the Showore, this thing, I was part of that. I was a student in Benue State University. The first summit they had, I took part. Rufus Adawale contacted me. He is someone I hold in high esteem. I trust him. He guided me to that political party. Now, I can tell you that when it comes to political views and leadership, I take counsels from him. I went to that party. We started paying dues. We meet at a hotel. We use their conference this thing in Makurdi. When we get there, we contributed money to be able to sort out the bills of that very day. We contributed money for political posters, for campaign posters for Showore at that time in Makurdi and all of those things. Okay, and at the end of the day, I saw myself in that system, because they say nomination form. As a student, I have the right. I was enlightened. That is where I got the education that as a student, I can also contest a political election. And I have the privilege that, if I'm contesting for this election, this is what I can spend. Specifically, there's a leverage given to you as a student to contest elections. And I can say that as far as that party is concerned, I have learned so much, even when sometimes I disagree with some of the activities. But I have learned, it has empowered me politically, of which if I have to go to PDP or APC, I won't have that education in the first place. That is the point I want Owusu to also look into. As you go join them, they are not going to educate you in the right direction. They're not going to tell you even these problems that we are having can be solved. They magnify these problems, and that is why we are where we are today. Otherwise, what is the essence of the loans that we are getting? I read the other day, I read the documentary that the money Nigeria has spent in acquiring electricity is above what the UK government have spent in electricity, that have stabilized their own electricity system for the past donkey years. You see the irony? Okay, so for me, going forward, the young people should, as a matter of fact, even in Ghana there, if the young people stand up today, these guys will run away. It is all about we trusting ourselves. So learning from them, I can learn from the likes of you, morally, integrity-wise, you know, some of those ethics that can be able to make me a better leader. But I can't pick, for goodness sake, I can't pick Buhari as someone I'm going to learn leadership from. I can't. Not even the senator representing my own senatorial district. I can't. Not even the chairman from my local government, which is from my community. Currently, I can't tell you that, sir, this is who I pledge to learn from. That is how bad it is. So we are not looking at the older generations as if they have nothing to add to us. They have so much. In fact, without them, they wouldn't have been us in the first place. But going forward, should we continue? They say one of my favorite quotes from one of our scriptures said, "How long shall rolling waters remain impure?" You know, the water that is flowing, how long will that water remain so bad that people cannot have access to it? So these leaders will continue to have recycling. They recycle themselves over and over and over and over. And I can tell you, just like they said, nothing good, there was a doubt that nothing good can come out of Bethlehem or Jerusalem. In that context, it is different. There's nothing good that can come out of this leadership as presently constituted in Africa. Even the African countries that we felt they are doing very well, they have systemic problems that it is just like a cover-up that things have been are going on so well. So my ebook comrade from Ghana, please, I acknowledge your point, and I subscribe to the fact that we cannot just totally say no to our elders, but we should know the kind of elders that we say no to. Politically, we don't have elders in Africa. In other aspects of life, sure, we do have a lot of them, wonderful men and women who can make us better. But when it comes to political leadership, I plead with you to please just run away from them. Otherwise,
Okay.
like I okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay. Well,
Yes.
the point I want to make there is that, you know, as you were saying this, I remember a young man who several years back, he was contesting to go to a state house of assembly, just a state house of assembly. And then his political party, to get through with the nomination, this is to get through the local, that is the local group who will say he is the candidate.
Yes.
To get through with them, he told me they have pressed out my intestines. So it is pressed it out completely. And he said, "Sir, I spent just for them to take my name to the governor of the state, who is the final person as party leader in the state to approve. Before they could take my name, I spent 12 million naira. And this person is going to a post where he will not earn 12 million naira in 3 years or 4 years.
His campaign's expenses are not yet captured.
He has not campaigned. He has not even talked about his form. This is just to get the local group who style themselves as political leaders of constituency. Yes. That is to him. He said they simply pressed out every single liquid in his intestines. That's how he described it. So, and that is the character of African political leaders. It's either they ruin you and then pick you up as a slave to be with them, or or nothing. So the point you are making is correct, is very important, and then we will keep working on these 2 points. We'll take this as 2 schools of thoughts now. Flood the existing political parties, no, drop them because they are complete mess, so that and try to form a new thing. We'll work on that, and then hopefully it will add to what we will arrive at when we get to the point we want to go in this conference. Um,
Yeah.
Thank you very much for these comments. Now, do you have a final word you would like to share with our people?
Yeah. My final take regarding this very issue is, of course, we know that we have these problems. Let's ask ourselves personally, what can I do? And that is where there is no way you can motivate me beyond the way I can motivate myself. You can try and try, give me the best of books to read, give me the best form of motivation, but the will, the 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 end product of your motivation given me is by my own actions and understanding. So as young people, we need to take action. We need to take action in the sense that we begin to get ourselves rightly educated. And other than the education, I know those who have gone through the four walls of the universities, but when it comes to political education, they don't have it. They don't have it. Some are just interested in working and getting their salaries and all of that. But at the end of the day, let's get the right political education. And as we get this political education, let's participate in them. Because for me, if you are my friend now, I don't see, it's only 2 or 3 of my friends that I know. I have so many friends that don't have a voter's card. And many of them, if you talk to them today, they'll say, ha, if not be Amos, if not for Amos, the way the guy, they worry. I have to worry because tomorrow, they say someone shared an experience. You had a guest on your platform some time ago and shared an experience. I think Uche Carlo also, and he said on when you do not, even when you do business and you think your business doesn't have any political concern. If you have a foolish person who doesn't understand business and you don't play along in the political aspect, the person might make policies that can destroy your business in just a minute. So irrespective of what you do, irrespective of our dreams and aspirations, our careers, we need political education. And we don't just need that political education, we need political participation from all of us. And going forward, we should be able to rise up to the from our various units. How can I help? Task card. Is it valid? Yes. Can I access my polling unit? Yes. Do I belong to an existing political party? Yes. Okay. This political party, are they in line with the vision I have for myself as an African, as a Nigerian, as a Ghanaian? If no, then you look into the other manifestos of other parties. Do they have things that can be able to make you stand tall among your equals, that can be able to help bring development to your community and the country at large? If yes, then let's shift our ideologies from this issue of who wins the election. Let's go into an ideological kind of political participation where party participation will be judged not on the basis of followership, not on the basis of who is at the top or who is going to be in the government house. It's about conscience, about what we dream for our people, ourselves, our children's children, and the entire of Africa. So if until we begin to have that kind of rethink, the narrative will not change. So in my opinion, I suggest that we as young people in Africa, in as much as we speak these things, in as much as we attend such forums, let's do the homework. I strongly believe that it is through our grassroots participation in politics, uniting with the right organizations and learning from the right people. Sure, yes, that can only make us win this war. The other man said, Abdul said, this is a work in progress. We all accept it's a work in progress. But I wouldn't want us to have this work in progress like the Egyptian, Israelite work. The journey they were supposed to make for 40 days became that of 40 years. Okay, so and it's until we get it right. Otherwise, this work in progress could be a work for a lifetime. So we just have to get the right strategies, get the right information, and accept to be the right people to do this job. Until then, we cannot make progress. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amos, and your voice has always been very powerful, very, very, very incisive, and
Thank you.
has added a lot of color and substance to this conference. Please stay nearby. We know you do, and continue to allow your comments, your questions, and likes and love to continue for these proceedings. In due course, as we tidy up to this thing, we will call a special conference of most of the speakers, and during that period, we would create from that special session what we are taking away from the conference. Thank you. Do stand by, and then thank you very much for all you have done.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Well, viewers, this is has become our production for today. Before we leave, let's take a message from our sponsors.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Graceworth Nigeria Limited. Graceworth Nigeria Limited is a Nigerian-owned and operated company using seasoned and accomplished professionals to execute complex security missions in conjunction with the host government to mitigate risk on behalf of our clients. Our team members have decades of experience in the security sector, bringing a wealth of knowledge and experience that not all security companies are able to offer. The success of the company is based on our unrivaled ability to build and maintain successful partnerships with our customers to provide professional and reliable security services. We pride ourselves on providing highly trained personnel, experienced in dealing with the most complex of security issues. Since our formation, we have gained a reputation as a highly experienced company, with a young, energetic and forward-thinking management team, offering the highest level of professionalism. We offer the following services such as security awareness and training, program support and consultancy, risk assessments and investigations, executive protection and travel management. To contact us on +234 807 227 2799 0702 525 4858, or visit our office at 14 Buchanan Crescent, off Amanucano Crescent, West 2, Abuja FCT, Nigeria. We would be glad to have you.
Thank you, and have a great day. We anticipate that by 8 p.m. Nigerian time, we'll actually open the studios at 7:45 p.m. Nigerian time. We will begin the evening session of this conference for today. We have people lined up who will speak to us from Ghana, from Cameroon, and also from Sierra Leone. Thank you very much for being with us at this conference. Have a great afternoon.